Hey, thank you for tuning in on today. I hope everybody's doing well. Just wanted to pop on today. I just felt the need to pop on and kind of talk to you guys today just a little bit for a moment about life insurance and why you need it. I'm the type of person that you know I think that it's imperative that everybody has a story. Everybody has a situation or circumstance where they may have found themselves in, not voluntarily, but through life's process. Um, sometimes brings us into places that we don't necessarily desire to be or find ourselves in. But for me, one of the things that deeply impacted my life and really woke me up in the area of life insurance was after the passing of my mother back in 2009. Back in 2009, I was raised up by two working class parents. Um, have one sister. We're 4 years apart. She's actually 4 years older than I am. But we grew up in a dual parent household. Both of my parents were there throughout my entire childhood, and we had a blessed life. We were blessed. Doesn't mean that we didn't have challenges, but we were blessed. We had the food, shelter, clothing, and opposed to some of the others that may have been around us, who may have been challenged in those areas. We never experienced a time or a season where we were out on the street. Our refrigerator was never empty. We always had nice clothes and nice shoes on our back. And I realized that that was something that was extreme blessing. Many people didn't have that. And, coming from that environment where there was, always positivity going on, where the atmosphere was always positive, and there was always demonstration. And to those individuals who may have grown up in a 200 parent household or even a one parent household, um, as long as that atmosphere was right, you always had an opportunity to do well, to advance. I'm a firm believer that atmosphere is everything. Atmosphere is everything. If the atmosphere is not right, it's very hard to promote something, promote well doing. As long as that positive energy is flowing in the atmosphere, I believe you set the child up for success. You set them up to do well in whatever it is they're looking to do. And so that positive atmosphere was always brewing in our house. We had demonstrations. My sister and I had demonstrations on what it takes to function, what it takes to survive. And again, not that we didn't have challenges that would arrive, but I'm a firm believer also that it's not the challenge that kills you. It's your response, and in some cases, it's your recovery time. And so, I always saw my parents deal with challenges. Um, Number one, because we grew up in a faith-based household. Prayer was a strong part of our life. We went to church. We were around other individuals who moved in that lifestyle, so it made a big difference in the way that we responded to situations and circumstances that would arise. Um, my mother, uh, my father. Let me start with my father. My father was a physical therapist, and later on went on to become a school teacher, where he taught in the education system for many, many years before retiring. My mother was a entrepreneur. She was a businesswoman. She did work for a major company. I remember when I was younger, she used to work for the state school for the deaf and the blind. Was an administrator there, and as time went on, she went on to step out into her exercise her entrepreneurial skills, build her skills up, and was a strong entrepreneur. She started many, many businesses. She had a government contracting agency. She also had developed group homes where she would house ex inmates, ex prisoners, male prisoners, and build them up, put them in programs that would set them on the right pathway to be productive in society. And that business is, and that programs that she developed through that business was very prosperous, very prosperous. Several people really went on to do some great things by coming through that program. As time went on, she went on and she got her insurance license, became a insurance broker. Later went on to sign up with a captive company by the name of Prudential Insurance, which many of you have heard of Prudential Insurance. She worked and thrived with Prudential Insurance for several years. End up becoming a top producer in the company. End up becoming part of the $1 Million Round Table, which is a outside organization that acknowledges brokers who sell over $1 million in annual premium for any company. For any particular company, it's a private organization. It's a very prestigious group. Once you are selected and pulled in, you go into the Hall of Fame. And to my knowledge, I believe the $1 Million Roundtable is located in the headquarters is in Jacksonville, Florida. If you go to Jacksonville, Florida, you can go into the building and you see pictures of all the people who are part of the $1 Million Round Table. It's like going to a museum because the pictures and the people that make this uh, get this prestigious award been around for a long time, and so there are a lot of many different individuals who have made the $1 Million Round Table in there. You walk in there, it's like a Hall of Fame. And my mother's actually up there on that wall. And so I always knew from both of my parents who demonstrated that. So that wave uh, came over to myself and my sister, where it was always pushing, pushing, pushing. Despite obstacles, you push no matter what. You just dig your heels down and and you work it out until it starts manifesting into what you want it to be. And so through the process of time, as time went on, and as my mother began to move into her retirement ages, there was a uh, time period, a sudden time period when cancer hit her body. Cancer hit her body, and within about 2 to 3 weeks of the diagnosis, she was gone. And so it was a sudden thing. And my mother, being a very active woman, and as a matter of fact, she was midst of she was the director of contracting, and she had put together a strong team of general contractors that build custom houses. She was in the process of actually even overseeing our new home at that time. And so, in the process of doing that, pretty much coming to the end, maybe I believe we were supposed to move into the new home about 30 days right after she passed away. So she never got a chance to step foot into that home, but as far as being her residence, but she did see it built up and pretty much finished. And it was a great thing. It was something that she desired to do. It was actually her second time doing that. The original home that I grew up in was something that her and my father also uh, uh, did the general contracting on the erection of that house. And so, as in the process of time, as she was working the second project later in life, I believe at that time I must have been about 39 years old, 40 years old. I'm 50 now. So she was about to step into the house, didn't get the opportunity to do so. However, uh, as I stated, after getting that diagnosis, uh, she had, maybe 3 weeks went by, and she left us. She left the earth. She passed away. Um, so in the process of passing away, after when you in the process of passing, you have to deal with a lot. You have to deal with gathering all your information, getting everything together, make sure everything that she left in order was in place, and all that. But one of the things we found out, which was a really hard punch, was that in the process of her uh, doing work, like about 6 months before she passed away, in the midst of doing all the work, she was a very busy woman because, like I said, she was doing private contracting. She was a director of general contracting for a company she had put together to build our house, and even doing other business, still pushing insurance. She was a very, very busy. So, in the midst of being very busy and active in the business sector, uh, some of her business got away. And some of the business that got away was to making sure that her insurance, all her policies were being paid up, and they had been paid for many years. But during those last 6 months of her life, between juggling and being very busy, um, her policies had slipped, and I would say maybe about 60 days beforehand, she had missed a couple of payments on her policy. So when we went to reach for the policy, turn it into the funeral home, the funeral director came back and says, "Hey, unfortunately, your policy lapsed about 60 days ago. About 60 days ago, the policy lapsed." So here we were at that point with a strong dilemma. We're sitting there with a strong dilemma, and it's like, wow, all the hard work, all the labor, uh, making $1 million round table as an insurance agent, um, all the labor, everything in the midst of everything happening, um, they slipped and forgot to make a couple of payments on the insurance policy. So here we are looking at the numbers. We're looking at the numbers that the insurance company needs in order to get some things done. Now, if you've ever uh, been a participant in putting someone away, you know that the numbers to do so are very, very intense. There's some intense numbers. And when I say numbers, I'm speaking the cost. The cost of putting people away in an honorable way, in which they deserve, can be extremely costly. I've seen numbers, even a casket alone can run you a great amount of money, several thousands of dollars, several thousands. just for the casket alone. Just the casket can run you, can get pricey for a decent casket. Then you have state fees that are required because certain things got to be done in order to put a person away. Paying for the burial ground, paying for the sleeve to go down in the ground, paying for this, paying for that. I mean, the fees can get pretty high, depending on how honorable you want to get. And I believe that anybody that has been walking the earth for any amount of time that has affected or impacted the life of anyone deserves to be put away in an honorable fashion. So, in the midst of that, we were looking at extreme expenses, and then we found ourselves having to, uh, you know, uh, uh, juggle our own life, having to extract from our own accounts, um, to try to make sure everything was done in an honorable way. Well, long story short, we did manage to put her away in a very honorable fashion. But the main point I'm trying to want to get across to you is that number one, when you're going through that, you don't want to have to try to deal with the financial matters at that time. It's extremely hard to do. It's very difficult to do, extremely emotional to do when you're trying to figure out how you're gonna uh, close this chapter of that individual's life. It's something that's it's very challenging. It's something that you don't want to be in that situation. Today's times, I see people um, using GoFundMe accounts. And the truth of the matter is, whenever you put out a GoFundMe account, unless you have, excuse me, some very wealthy friends who can put a substantial amount in to help you uh, put that person away in an honorable way, more likely the the money that ends up going into those GoFundMe accounts really end up going into the pockets of the other survivors, maybe to try to help them recover, which very rarely does, from the expense of closing that chapter of their loved one. It's something, the expense is extremely outrageous. I came across something that somebody wrote the other day, and it was like one of those memes, and the meme said that when people pass away, they should be able to come back and see what they left behind and how their loved ones have to clean up or try to put things together in order to get things back on a smooth track. They should be allowed to come back and see. And I was, wow, that was like it was an awakening, and it was a reminder for me, reference to what we had to contend with in order to make sure that my mom, who was a very loving and caring woman, to make sure that she's put away in an honorable fashion. And I'm telling you, that weight is heavy, people. It's not something you want to just keep putting off and putting off and putting off, because death knows no age. Death doesn't care how old you are, doesn't care how young you are, none of that. It can show up at any moment. So the moment that you find yourself uh, with some form of income, life insurance has to be one of the first things on your agenda. Outside of making sure you got a roof over your head and you can put some shoes on and some clothes on your back, life insurance needs to be the next thing on your list. And unfortunately, what I see nowadays is many people put that on the back burner. It's something that they don't want to really think about. They don't want to deal with it. They don't want to talk about it, but it's something that must be dealt with. And one of the things that we must understand is you don't look at life insurance as something that's like preparing for your death sentence. Life insurance is a can be a debt weapon. It can be a wealth building tool, which is a very good at building wealth. And when you use it as a wealth building tool or a debt cancellation tool, the added benefit is that it's also good for when death does come. So I believe life insurance is it's just a matter of perspective. Many people don't want to. People take the wrong perspective. People always look at it as something that's like a preparing for your death sentence, but that's not the case. You should be looking at it as a wealth building tool, a wealth building mechanism you can use to build tax-free wealth. We sit around and complain about how Donald Trump and other people don't pay taxes. It's not that they're doing anything illegal. In many cases, I don't know his situation. I don't know anybody's situation who's avoided taxes. But I can tell you that you can avoid taxes if you uh, protect your money the right way. If you don't have the information, if you don't know what to do, then yeah, you're going to be paying taxes. But there's information out right now that if you seek it out, and I'm going to tell you, insurance is one of the ways that people avoid taxes. They avoid taxes through insurance. There's different ways that you can attack insurance and use it in such a way for that you can build wealth, leave a legacy, and secure it tax free. Secure it tax free. Listen, this building wealth and even preparing for the end is something that must be intentional. It's not something that you're gonna just do a happenstance. You're just gonna fall into it and oh, look, I fumbled up. Oh, I don't know. Depending. Wow, how did it get here? No, it doesn't work that way. You got to be intentional about it. You got to be serious about it. Tomorrow's not promised. The next second is not promised. You have to prepare now. And that's the whole gist of what I want people to understand, that you need to prepare now. Don't wait till something happens and then find yourself in a situation. Then you gotta go online to GoFundMe.com and open up a GoFundMe account when you could have been funding yourself the whole time. The whole time you could have been funding yourself for the price cheaper than a Happy Meal twice a week at McDonald's. Okay, you could have been doing this yourself, preparing. This is the time to prepare. You got to prepare now. Listen, we're in the midst of a pandemic and what is going on. Even despite the fact that vaccines are being released, it's still going to be a while before we're in the safety zone. And even when we step into the safety zone, there's going to be more situations coming at us. It's not the first time, and it definitely won't be the last. The involvement of the earth has already shown us that. So we must always be prepared. We got to prepare a safety net for our families, for our households. I have access to products that can do that for you. There's different types of life insurance policies that can do that for you. You want to build wealth? I can introduce you to an index universal life policy. You can build wealth, tap into that wealth tax free. All right. If you want just general coverage for your life, I can help you with that. I can get you some term. I can get you some whole life. I can find out what's most suitable for you. I can show you how to get term policy and get all the money back at the end of the term that you put into the policy. Use that money, roll it over into a whole life, and instantly fund that whole life policy. And then if you need to, borrow from that policy tax free. You can borrow from it and use the money for whatever you want to use it for. You can invest in real estate, use it to invest in anything else you want to invest in, and pay yourself back over time while that policy is still building and climbing in value tax free, as though you never borrowed from it. as though you never borrowed from it. I can show you how to protect your mortgage, how you can take what you've been paying in your mortgage and also have a small policy, mortgage protection policy on the side that will empower you to pay your house off 5 years early. Pay your house off 5 years early. Imagine how much interest and how much principal you could save by putting that in your pocket 5 years worth by paying it off 5 years ahead of time. I can show you how to do that. I can show you how to protect your paycheck. You can protect your paycheck. When I say protect your paycheck, meaning being able, if something was to happen to you, if there was a critical illness, or you got in an accident, or if there was something that shut you down and you're going to be out of work for a while, I can show you how you can still get your bills paid. Okay? So there's a lot that you can do with insurance, people. I don't want you to go to the grave and leave your family with nothing. Go to the grave, leave your family trying to figure out what they're going to do, how they're going to move. Listen, you've already crossed over and moved on. They're left here to deal with the aftermath. And since we all have to leave here one day, we want to literally leave here in peace, knowing that your family is going to be taken care of. It makes your exit a lot more peaceful, and it makes life more peaceful for those who are left behind. And so I want to encourage you, listen, my number's right there at the bottom, 1-800-420-401. Make sure you call and say, hey, look, I'm looking to get covered. I want to talk about my options. I want to see what's available to me. I can get you free quotes. I can run a free quote for you on any of these policies. We can find the best for you. All you got to do is tell me what your goal is, what your mission is. If you're looking into building legacy, looking to leaving wealth, you want to build wealth, you want to do some investing, but you want to build up a pot a lot faster than using a savings account at the bank. Listen, even banks use these same policies to build wealth. Banks have billions upon billions of dollars in life insurance. That's why they can survive COVID-19s and other hits and disasters that come. They can survive. They can tap into the insurance money, and the insurance money will sustain them long enough for business to get back to somewhat of a norm, and still at the same time be building wealth. You can do the same. I can show you how to do it. Listen. Tap in, call me, 1-800-420-8401. I'd love to be your agent of choice. Like I said, I'm a broker, so I have access to many products that can help you. Life insurance is not preparing for your death sentence. Life insurance is about legacy. It's about leaving an inheritance. It's about building a safety net for your family, for you, for your income. Listen, it's a powerful tool. I can show you how to do it tax free. All right, listen, call my office, 1-800-420-8401. I am your broker of choice. Listen, you all have an awesome holiday, and I'm looking forward to speaking to you very soon. All right, call my office. Get the coverage you need right now. 1-800-420-8401. God bless.